Hello to my dear viewers out there who are English speaking. A little short clip for those loved ones who don't speak Farsi. This little segment is about a little bit about who am I? This is one of the fundamental questions that people ask themselves once they become somewhat aware of themselves. One of the very first questions they ask, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing here? Why did I choose the parents that I have? Why do I have this life? Why do I have these problems? The main fundamental question is, one of the main fundamental questions is, who am I? The truth is that we are a light being having a physical experience. Our soul is eternal. Eternal means forever. It never dies. It's a forever thing. Our physical body is not eternal. Our physical body is a temporary vehicle, a temporary tool that we are using for this physical experience. And once we're done with this journey, we release this physical body and we move on to where we came from. We come from a light vibration and we come to this physical realm once we have a physical body. And then once we finish our journey, we release the physical body and we go back to where we came from. Now, one of the first things right out I want to let you know, there is no such thing as heaven and hell. All there is where we come from and here. Now, the light vibration has many different vibrations, but it's all light vibration. And then we have this physical experience here in this dimension. We have this physical experience. But there is no going to heaven or no going to hell. Neither one of them exists. We are like travelers. We come from a light vibration and we are traveling to this physical realm. And as you know, every trip has a beginning and an end. When we are born, this is beginning of our trip in this physical realm. When we die, or there's actually no death, when we release the physical body, we go back to our original home. It's kind of like when you go on a trip. You leave your house, you go on a trip. When your trip is over, you go back home. This is exactly the same thing. We're traveling. We come from the light vibration. We come to this physical realm. When our trip is over, we go back home. That's it. That's the only two places that there is. All the other stories are, a lot of them, not true. Some of the stories has come from misunderstandings. Like one of these misunderstandings is when people release their physical body, they need to go to the light vibration, and sometimes they don't. And then this creates some misunderstanding in the midst of it. But for general, my main focus on this clip is that I am a light vibration. I am an eternal being who always is and always will be, just like God is eternal and I am eternal. I am a part of God. I have forgotten that I am a part of God, but I am a part of God. We come from God, and this is another trip journey that we start. At one point at the start of the journey is when we separate from God, and then for the experiences that we want to have, we start moving away from God for the experiences we want to have. And it's kind of like a circle. The first half of the circle is that I separate from God, I move away from God, and when you get to the lowest point, that is the farthest point you got from God, then the second half of the circle is that I move back towards God. And then, this way, I move back towards God. So I go up the circle to try to get my finger in front of the camera. Okay, so the first half, you move away from God. The second half, you move towards God. And this separating from God and going back to God can take millions of years because we are an eternal being. There is no shortage of time. When you're eternal, you got forever. The mind can't comprehend the concept of forever. When you're an eternal being, that means forever. And this journey from the point where we separate from God and this journey till to the point where we go back to God can take millions of years. Now this part of our journey can be just in light vibration, and at some point you decide you want to have a physical experience, and then you come to this realm and you experience the physical experience. Even within the physical experience, you can have many, many incarnations. I personally have had more than 240,000 human incarnations, because we also can have some non-human incarnations. You could be a tree. You could be a frog. You could be a rock. But I have had more than 240,000 human incarnations. That's a lot. This is what sometimes they refer to as an old soul. Now, an eternal being doesn't have an age. When something's eternal, you cannot say you're 2 years or 3 years. It's eternal. But the term old soul, what is referring to means a soul who's had many incarnations. It doesn't mean that the soul is an old soul, because the soul is an eternal being, so there is no age. But when they say somebody is an old soul, it means it's had many physical incarnations. When they say somebody is a young soul, it means it has had very few physical incarnations. That's all it means. It has nothing to do with age. It's just implying that how many incarnations the person has had. So I'm considered to be like an old soul because I've had many incarnations. Now, in addition to my almost 240,000 incarnations, I've had many non-human incarnations. And most of the people on Earth plane right now have had a lot of incarnations. And a lot of incarnation means accumulated karma, which I will talk more about karma on another session. Right now, my focus is who am I? I'm a light being. I'm an eternal being. I come from God and I go back to God. This is my journey. This is the story of everyone. We are from God and we go back to God. And the point of this purpose is to learn, to grow, and to expand. God itself is forever expanding. As we expand, God expands. We are part of God. So when we grow and expand, because we're part of God, God is growing and expanding as well. So if you ever wondered, who am I? This is who you are. A light being, an eternal being who comes from God and goes back to God. And in the midst of this point of leaving God and going back to God, you experience many, many, many things. You experience many dimensions. You experience many physical lives. You experience many light vibration. And the soul has a great deal of sense of curiosity and desire to learn and to grow and to experience. Now, at some point, you are reincarnating to clear some karma, but the main point of reincarnation is expansion. Learn, experience, and expansion. So that's the total idea for who I am. And one of the main things that now we've forgotten, this idea that I am from God and I am a part of God. You can even say, I am God because I'm a part of God. This thing, this knowledge is within us, but we have forgotten it because of thousands and thousands of incarnations before. We have forgotten that we are a part of God. We have forgotten that we come from God. That's why one of the main points of awakening ourselves from dream of life is to remember once again that I am part of God. Now, this remembrance doesn't just happen by me telling you. By me telling you and you hearing this message that I am a part of God, I am planting the seed within you. I'm planting the seed of knowledge within you. I'm giving you this knowledge in this moment that you are a part of God. But the awakening happens when you actually remember. Your soul remembers, which they call this remembrance. Remembering that I am one with God. Now, when you hear this, that I am one with God, it's awakening something within you, whether you feel it or not. It's awakening something within you. I'm planting this seed of awakening within you. Now, this seed will grow and be nourished if you nourish it, if you focus on remembering that you are one with God. And it will come to its maturity when you are ready to remember that you are one with God. When you remember, when your soul remembrance happens that you are one with God, and this is also referred as awakening of the seventh chakra. When you remember that, you're awakened from dream of life. You remember who you are. You remember that you're from God. You remember why you're here. And a total awakening and a change of vibration happens. And then you are free from all these stories of life. You are free from the reincarnation of karma and other stuff. Once you become awakened from the dream of life, you become free. You know basically everything. You totally become free of everything. You become free of ego, you become free of karma, you become free of all this mental and emotional baggage. Of course, this journey of remembrance, for some people may take many years, for some may take many lifetimes, for some may take a shorter time. I just yesterday, one of my students told me that she experienced, as she was focusing on her remembrance, her seventh chakra started blossoming, which is awesome. It's surprisingly wonderful news. Apparently, she's worked on herself on previous lifetimes because she's only on second term, and it's happened pretty quickly. I mean, this is something that for some people can take years, but for her, it only has happened after 3 months because this is her second term, and each term is 3 months. And it's awesome that in just 3 months has happened for her where her seventh chakra is beginning to awaken. And because she's focusing on her remembrance, this is one of the lessons that I gave them. And when you remember that you are one with God, you are awakened. So if you're interested in joining my classes, you can get in touch with me through Facebook or Telegram. My Telegram phone number, if you're familiar with Telegram, Telegram is an application like face-to-face or like Viber or Tango or stuff like that. Telegram is one of those applications. I also have WhatsApp and Line. There are tons of these applications out there. So my number is 925-478-9470. I'm based in North California. My email is Farahnaz J 2013 at yahoo.com. The best way to get in touch with me is to send me a message through text or Telegram or Facebook. I check my email about once a week. I try to check my email once a week. My messages are so many. But the best way to get in touch with me is either by text or Telegram. and I do check my Facebook messages as well, and once a week my email. So I wish you an awakening, a beautiful awakening. I wish you love, peace, and harmony, and I hope this clip in this video will bring you awakening, knowledge, and peace. Until next time, may you be in the heart of God and always in